Hello, dear creative potion dear. It's been a while since I've seen you, but I'm so excited because I'm going to be start sharing with you a beautiful series that you can participate in your grimoire. But before we get going, let's get this flame of hope and peace for 2026 going. And there we have it. My all beings benefit. Right, this is exciting to finally get into the series, into our grimoires with our watercolor. And I'm going to be sharing with you guys this very simple watercolor tutorial that you can do in your art journal or your grimoire. For me, this is a living grimoire. And this year, I want to get to know my magical herbal friends a little bit better. And I want to add a beautiful little artwork in my grimoire in my own hand in the topic that we are exploring. So what I did this morning already, I used an image that I drew off from the internet that I sort of resonate with and I feel that captures the essence of what I want to bring into my grimoire. So I'm going to encourage you to just look around on Pinterest and find an image that speaks to you that you can take to your grimoire and to paint in your grimoire. Now, I do think in a study, a botanical study like this, it is very good to just keep it very simple. Really just try to identify the plant. Don't make your painting or your entry too complicated. Obviously, sort of go into it at your own skill level. If you're a beginner, keep it simple. Master the simplicity of it first. But if you are a master already, then go for it. You can have as complex of a composition as you wish. So what I did was I took this beautiful chamomile flower, I just drew it in with my pencil, and then I switched over to my permanent liner markers. Now, if you're going to do it like me, make sure that it's permanent, because if you're going to work with watercolor over a marker that's not permanent, it is going to flow. So just be mindful of that. But if you are in doubt, if you maybe don't have a permanent marker, then I will suggest that you do the line work at the end of your painting and not before. All right. But I did want to prepare the page so that you sort of in the zone with me and it brings sort of some of the information nearer to me so I can share with you guys as we paint. Now, I'm going to have my watercolor paints here. I have a selection of watercolor paints that I enjoy. Just mist your watercolors before you start, just to activate the pigment so that by the time you want to start to mix color, that is ready to give. Alright, let me see what brush am I going to use for my background. I'm going to use my trusty number 1 and number 2 tool, if I can find them. I really thought I had everything ready here. It's not ready. Anyway, this one will do for now. I'm going to use my quill, and one of the things about painting a white flower that I want to share with you before we get going, especially if you're going to be working on white paper. Now, how on earth do we paint white flowers on white paper? That is what this whole tutorial is about. And I'm going to be sharing with you one of my little secrets. So one of the skills that you have to master in watercolor is that of negative painting. Now, what is negative painting? Negative painting really just means paint around an object. That's negative painting. So it's just a very technical word to describe where you will be placing your paint. So we're going to be working on the background, what is around the flower, and that is going to help me to define the white light of the chamomile flower. Now, if you look at your images of chamomile flowers, you will notice there's a distinct difference between a chamomile flower and a daisy. They are very easy to confuse the two because this sort of type of flower is quite common between the daisy and chamomile and its similar sort of friends out there in the world. It is very easy to think that you have chamomile in front of you. Chamomile flowers are really a little bit smaller. They're not as big as daisies, but the structure does look the same. The leaves of, or the crown of the chamomile flower is also a little bit shorter than your typical known daisy. The dome or the center of the flower is like the crown um, is a little bit more domed. It's not as flat as a daisy. So those are some distinct sort of markers that I can share with you guys that's going to help you to identify your chamomile. Right. So I'm going to start with a nice beigey background. So let's get some clean water going here, and we need to mix enough so you can use your tincture to just draw up a little bit more water so that you can begin to mix some color. Now you can decide what background you want. It doesn't have to be the color that I'm using. Any color will do. But I will stay away from blues and grays simply because we're going to play with that in your chamomile flower and you don't want everything to start looking the same. So in order to build a little bit of contrast, let's look at our color wheel. Now, my flower is going to be mostly white, but there's going to be some blues and grays in there. So let's quickly use our color wheel and take this to our blues and greens. So let's say, for example, we're going to use blue in order to enhance some of the white aspects of the flower, like in the shadows, and we'll use some grays. But a blue is going to be our big contrast here, or a way to sort of talk about those beautiful folds in the petals. What is directly opposite your blue is a beautiful orange. And when we add a little bit of black to it, we can get a nice deep kind of orange. So this is going to give us contrast. And the more contrast we have, the clearer the picture will be. There will be more magic. There will be more life on the page. And it's going to help the chamomile flower to stand out more because the center or the crown of the chamomile flower is also quite yellow and warm with a bit of orange in there. So again, we talk about contrast. And contrast is such a simple way to just bring life to a picture and have things stand out visually a little bit more. So let's mix a beautiful deep orange for the background, like a beigey, orangey, natural tone. I'm going to go for a yellow orange because I want it quite muted, and I think that's a good foundation. Now we can begin to cool this down to make it a little bit more natural. So one of the ways to cool this down is to use its opposite color. Let's use a little bit of blue, and I'm going to go for the cyan blue simply because it's sort of on the same level as the orange. And you'll see immediately it will muddy it down a bit and it will give you sort of an ochre kind of color. And I think that's quite nice. And then we can also go ahead and add maybe a little bit of brown. Now brown really technically is a deeper orange. You can just go for brown straight and just dilute it quite a bit, but I like to just play with a little bit of color theory to help people understand a little bit better about what it is that we're doing. Right. So now we're going to start painting the background. So that's everything around the flower. And I'm going to sort of do a little bit of a uneven sort of layout here in the background. So I'm going to start closer to the flower. So you can dip your brush in your mixture and just drag the brush off the side of your mixing palette so that you have water control on your brush. Have your kitchen towel handy, and let's start here around the flower. I'm going to come in with the toe of my brush and bring this mixture close to my flower. And I'm going to work away. Now, my art journal does have watercolor paper. It's not a heavy paper and it's a hot press. So you can expect a little bit more texture and vibe going here. I apologize if you guys can hear the horrible noise outside my studio. It's the packing yard. It is Monday in my studio and they are working very close to our perimeter today. So I've got no control over that. So hopefully it's not too loud and the microphone focuses more on my voice than on the horrible noise outside. So you should be able to start to see what I'm doing here and what impact this is making on our little painting. I like to work with a quill brush because it's giving me a belly that will hold a lot of water and a lot of color, and it also gives me a very nice toe that I can do some detail work with and accuracy as I paint negatively around my subject. I hope that you guys all had a beautiful festive season and that you guys are ready to get going here in 2026. I started early. Just before New Year's, I started recording the horse spirit animal guide art journey for my transfiguration tier people. And we are just inviting the fire horse of 2026 into our midst and collaborating with the fire horse as our main spirit animal for 2026. So if you are interested to get into that art journey, that is going to launch on the 17th, or sorry, the 15th or the 17th of February. I think it's the 17th. The actual new moon is on the 17th. I think the reason why I'm confusing it with the 15th is our New Year's celebration at our local Buddhist temple is going to be on Sunday, the 15th of February. So then we will really start to feel the full presence and energy of the fire horse. It's already sort of present. You can feel there's a transition between the year of the snake and the fire horse. They're starting to share their energies with each other and with us as the snake is beginning to slither away. And this has truly been a transformational year in 2025, and a lot of changes has occurred. I don't think a single person on this planet was not touched in some way, shape or form by change, by endings, by conclusions, by the ending of some kind of cycle. And it might even have ended in some way, shape or form during the year with a death of somebody close to you. And there's been a lot of transition in 2025, in the year of the snake, for sure. I myself have lost my personal assistant last week, Wednesday. She passed away. She became very ill in December with pneumonia, and she didn't recover. And on Wednesday evening last week, she passed away. So that was really, really sad and a shocking way to begin our year at the salon where I work as a hairstylist. And my heart is still a bit broken, and it's still very surreal for me. But this is not unique to me. I think this was truly a very challenging year, and the reason for that is because 2025 was a 9 year, meaning it is the ninth year of a 9 year cycle, and that talks about in numerology all about endings, completion of cycles, finishing of patterns and repetitions and of lessons, a wrapping up of karma. Um, that's sort of the energy of 2025. And maybe now, in retrospect, you can look back at 2025 and review the year, and maybe you will notice that there's a lot of change, there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of endings, a lot of wrapping up. And if this is news for you, hopefully, while we're still in the last sort of few weeks of the year of the wood snake, just use that medicine to transform your life. See what you've outgrown, see what you are ready to let go of, and make those conscious decisions to just wrap that energy up and prepare yourself, because the year of the horse is announcing a beautiful new beginning. It is a 1 year, the first year of a 9 year cycle, and it is bringing in a lot of fresh, new opportunity and freedom energy that is demanding for you to look at the next 9 years of your life. What do you want to manifest? What structure do you want to give to it? And slowly but surely begin to just take yourself into that beautiful, magical aspect. And chamomile is a beautiful herb to help us with these harsh transitions between completion and beginning. Because at the end of a 9 year, you can maybe feel exhausted, tired, drained. You might even feel that you have lost interest in things that have always interested you. And that is nothing wrong with that. It really is a time of integration now. And a gentle practice like this in your art journal can be a beautiful way to bridge that gap. Not to worry so much about production and creating big pieces of art, but returning to a smaller version where you give yourself an opportunity to feel what is real, to connect with things that is tangible, realistic, and beautiful. People are longing to feel texture, man-made, handmade, beautiful things that feels authentic, true, and real. We are so tired of AI, artificial, machine-made things that just doesn't last. And we are hungry for a beautiful handmade craft and smaller, intimate groups of support and kindness. And hopefully that is exactly what I'm offering to you as my Patreons. Right. So I'm just going to use my heat gun here, just to dry this page a bit quicker. Thank you, Rita. It's one of the things that I invested into my studio this December. Let me just grab another clamp here, just to clamp my page down. Right, now let's look at the beautiful glow on our beautiful chamomile. And for this, I'm going to mix a very soft lemony yellow. So a lemon yellow is a cool version of your yellow. I just want to clean my palette. There's a lot of green in it. It's just one of those colors that gets contaminated on your palette very easily because it's such a light, beautiful color. Right, let's add a bit of water to our palette. We don't need a lot. Very soft kind of glow. And I want you to just give the front bit of your flowers. It's okay if you cross over the crown of your flower. Maybe just connect a little bit with your water. And again, we're going to dry. The reason why we have to dry between each layer is we don't want our other colors to bleed into this. So when you want it to bleed, that's fine. Then you go ahead and you can do a wet into wet technique. But when you want a color to stay where you placed it, then you have to dry it before you add the next layer. Remember to just keep moving with your heat brush. Your paper is heating up fast. If you're using a heat gun, keep moving it about. Don't focus on one spot the whole time. Here we go. Fantastic. Right. I think I'm going to mix a beautiful green. I'm going to use my Hooker's green as a foundation. No, sorry, this is sap green. I'm going to also add a little bit of my Hooker's green to it, just to deepen it and cool it down a little bit. You can always test on a piece of paper just to see the intensity of the green. You might have to build that up in layers as well. Right, so let's go ahead and paint our little stem. So this is positive painting because now we're going into the actual flower or the plant structure, if you want to put it like that. I'm going to dive straight into my hooker's green, maybe even with a hint of black. We've got the shadow bit. You can also add a little bit of violet to your greens to just bring it down, because violet is the opposite. Well, red is the opposite, but the violet just deepens the green for me very nicely. It's one of my personal favorites. A little bit deeper still. This is the part where the leaf is upturning. I'm very shaky this morning, so it's going to add more texture to my structure here. And of course my green isn't entirely dry yet, so it is going to bleed a little bit, which is fine. It's such a tight area. I think it's going to add a little bit drama to it, but we might add a bit more later. I'm just going to blend this a little bit. Here we go. I'm going to allow that to dry. Okay, I'm going to clean up this yellow, simply because I don't need that anymore. So if you want to have a little bit of a mixing palette like I have, this is literally just a little dish that I bought from the home or kitchenware store. It's actually made for dipping sauces like soy sauce and so forth. So it's not even an official art supply tool. It is a porcelain sauce holder. It was like very cheap, 10 rand or something. But it works beautifully because I've got 3 wells that I can mix my color in, and it doesn't take up too much space. So if you want to try something like this, then just go to your kitchenware area where you've got little mixing dishes for sauces, and you can use that as your palette, like I'm doing here. Right, so we're going to need a little bit of ultramarine blue. I think that is phthalo. Ultramarine blue is a cooler version. Yes, so it has a definite cold tone to it. We're going to use the ultramarine blue here just to talk a little bit about the shadows on our beautiful daisy. I'm going to start here with this leaf that's in the back. So the petals that's in the back, it's not a leaf, it's a petal. It's going to be a little bit in shadow. So on the forward-facing flowers, I will just use this blue to talk a little bit about these creases on the petals. Just talk a little bit about the directionality of it, but don't cover the entire petal. I'm just going to use a soft, clean, damp brush to just soften some of these. It really doesn't matter. It's not supposed to be a very perfectionist kind of exercise. Like I said before, we are really interested and moved by beautiful texture and softness, not so much perfection. Let's strive this year to let go of this idea of perfection, because it doesn't exist. It is an egotistical, man-made idea that we can only produce things once we can achieve perfection, and that is an unrealistic goal. Let's rather strive for excellence in what we do rather than perfection, because excellence still encourages us to practice, and we give ourselves the mental space and the reminder that we are on a journey. We are practicing, we are trying, we are growing our skills. Perfectionism freezes you. It stops you in your track. It sabotages your effort because you're not going to persist and try again. With perfection, you feel, I will do it when I can do this perfectly. And you'll never be able to do it perfectly, so you will never begin in the first place. So maybe 2026 can be the year where you say, from this point forward, I am going to try my best. I'm going to let go of the idea that things need to be perfect. I'm going to embrace error. I'm going to embrace imperfection. I'm going to embrace texture and a happening on the page that was beyond my control. And when we deal with fluid mediums like watercolor or acrylic, it is that openness of that freedom that sometimes freaks some people out, that prefer maybe harder, firmer art materials like pencil or structured art materials like chalk or pastel or oil pastel, crayons, that kind of thing. So it's okay if you are more a control person, and here we are doing watercolor and you don't have the control that you wish you have. So this is a good medium to just practice letting go, surrender, allowing and embracing the imperfection of watercolor, because in the end that all contributes to its fresh beauty. Okay, right, so you guys can begin to see how I've used the white of the page to really color in this beautiful daisy, what shall we call it? Chamomile flower. I've just added a little bit of Payne's Grey to my blue mixture, because now I can go ahead and define some of these petals and make some of the shadow areas a little bit more deep. So it really does help to have an image of the flower in front of you. just to see where the shadows will hit each petal. So it's almost like drawing. With each layer that you add, there is less and less paint that you are using, and it becomes a little bit of a doodle. And that all adds to the whiteness of the beautiful little petal. Right, let's dry our painting. Awesome. It's coming together nicely. So while I've got this green mixture going here, I'm just going to go ahead and do another layer, specifically where the shadow will be deeper. And for me, this is going to be on the left hand side of this thing. And one of the secrets of watercolor is you can only go darker. Color on color or layer on layer is just going to go darker, giving you more depth and opportunity to work and develop your contrast. Right, let's clean this palette of ours, because now we're going to mix a color to do the little crown. So there are so many benefits to chamomile. Do you like chamomile? Why don't you drop me a comment and tell me your favorite use of chamomile? I like to use chamomile when I've got a bit of an upset tummy or when I've got a little bit of an emotional, challenging day. Right, so we're going to start with a nice yellowy orange. I think I'm going to add a little bit of my warmer yellow. I think that's a good start. And then I'll grab a bit of a warmer orange to develop this beautiful center. So just using that color to wet this area, and then I'm going to go for my deeper pyrrole orange, quite concentrated, and I'm just going to drop it here at the bottom. And allow it to flow. think I'm going to go for a deep warm brown. Just on the toe of my brush and just at the bottom here, allow it to touch the paint and just to deepen it a bit more. Like so. Isn't it amazing how it just brings the whole flower to life? I think that is quite magical. Okay, but before we carry on, we need to dry this again. Oh, sorry guys. Powerful moments. Right, so now I'm going to go into this faint grey colour, quite strong, because we need a beautiful deep contrast. I'm just going to get it on my brush and I'm really going to pick up a little bit of pigment here on the toe. That's quite strong. I'm maybe going to draw out the water from the belly so that the colour is really concentrated on the toe. And I'm just going to come and bring in a little bit of shadow between the leaves and around this central cone. Maybe the shadow there is a little bit more concentrated. It really just brings a focus to the center of our leaf. I'm also going to use this deeper grey color to strengthen the shadow. Beautiful. Now I've got a little bit of a white gouache bowl. You don't need white gouache because if you use the white of your paper correctly, then you shouldn't need gouache. But if you're a beginner and you feel that I've lost all of the white in my painting, okay. So white gouache, well, gouache is also watercolor. The difference is just gouache is opaque and it works in reverse, almost like a crave as far as your mixture is concerned. So if you do need to brighten up a white area again, you can use white gouache, but just be mindful that it will dry a bit darker than the white of the paper. Just be aware of that. So I'm just going to use my white gouache here and just bring in some highlights again where I feel I've maybe gone too far with my greys and my blues. Just brighten that up. That just feels beautiful to me. Good. Simple, beautiful, and very, very charming. So just to share with you guys as we wrap up this beautiful little watercolor session, sprinkle dried chamomile around your home to invite peace and harmony. Add chamomile to a ritual bath to draw love and affection. Tuck chamomile under your pillow to promote restful sleep. Brew chamomile tea for emotional healing and calm. Place chamomile in charm bags for protection, luck and serenity. And add chamomile to prosperity spells to attract good fortune and luck. And then obviously there is some medicinal properties about chamomile that's really useful if you've got an upset tummy or a tummy ulcer or anything with your digestive tract that is not feeling very right to you. But obviously take care that you obviously see a medical practitioner. Chamomile is just a helpful herb that you can use out of your garden to support your general health, but it does not replace your medical intervention and advice. So if you're not feeling well, please go see a doctor. But chamomile can be a beautiful way to just support your digestive tract and your body during stressful times, and it's such a beautiful supportive flower to grow in your garden. Maybe you can add it to your herb garden if you don't have one. I'm really planning to expand my herb garden this year. This is one of the numbers that I don't have yet, and I'm excited to find a nice chamomile plant or chamomile seed and then to add that to my collection. So you guys, this is a simple way to just bring in some practical creative magic into your life and to learn a little bit more about herbs and how you can use that to support your journey going forward in 2026. So I hope you enjoyed this beautiful, simple tutorial in painting a chamomile flower in your grimoire. So I'll see you guys again real soon when we dive into another herb. Thank you, beautiful, creative potion steer, for your financial support and your financial pledge. I really hope that you enjoy this content, and why don't you share it with a friend and invite them to join you and to join us here on the Creative Heart. I'll see you guys. Remember to take a photograph of your entry in your beautiful grimoire or art journal. Share it with me on the Creative Heart group on Facebook. I would love to see, and if you have any questions or if you want to add to this lesson, please add a comment to this video so that future patrons can also participate in our beautiful conversation. I'll see you guys real soon. Bye bye for now.